Welcome back for more of Adeline's diary. That is a boring intro. I really need to think of something else to say. We're going to finish off 1929 today, and then next time start on 1930 and see how far we get with that. I don't want this to take as long as it has. I think I started reading this diary in the summertime, and I've been slow with posting things, but now I'm going to try to at least post one diary reading every month. I think we can do that. Thing is, I have several diaries, and I'm really anxious to read the other ones too. I love Adeline, but these other diaries, let me show you. Right now, I'm reading this little one by a young man in 1925. Just started that. There's this one from 1940. Oh dear. I can't remember what it is. Well, check that. 40 something or 50. Oh, 54. And she travels. It's a little travel thing. This one from 1946. A young girl in Idaho, I believe. That's interesting. I was going to read this one next. It's a young, I want to say priest. He's Catholic. Very Catholic, and went on a European trip with some other church members, and it's pretty full. So that's going to come next, but then I got this diary, and I think this has to be next because apparently it's haunted. The woman I bought it from on eBay said that her brother had bought it like years ago, and a ghost appeared while he was reading it, and he put it on a shelf. And I got it pretty cheap because she wanted to get rid of it. I know I just got lucky. So, but I want to read this one next after Adeline, just so you know. But I'm not going to read it before I read it to you. I want to read it for the first time on camera and hope I can read the writing. It's from 1901. So, and it came with a picture of the girl who wrote it, Miss Evelyn Quinby. So that's going to come after I finish with Adeline, and I won't read it until then. And then there's one last one, also written in the early 1911. Not haunted as far as I know, but she does talk about her life in the 1800s. I haven't read this one yet. So I have a bit of addiction here. That's a new one this year, old diaries. Wish I would have thought of that sooner. It's very interesting. Better late than never. So, and I'm still hoping maybe I'll find one that belonged to someone in my family, you know? That would be great. Okay, on to Adeline. Okay, let's go. I guess I didn't find Tuesday, October 1st very exciting. We'll just read it anyway. Cultivated my young plants. Mrs. Mary Gaines called. I gave her some of all my plants. Went with Dina to Miss Will Browning's to the History and Literature Club. Literature or literary? I think it was literary. Oh no, wait, I'm so dumb. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay. Sorry, I confused myself there and had to stop because I put a sticker in. They're color coded, but I did something wrong. Anyway, we'll read Wednesday, October 2nd. Had a nice, sweet letter from Maud thanking me for the $25 check. Had my gladiolas dug. Went to town shopping, and in afternoon played bridge at Dina's. October 3rd. Ripped up a dress for my maid to remodel. Then went with Mrs. Stone at 10 a.m. to the garden club, where I made a talk on perennials. At 1:30 p.m. I went with Mrs. Keith to the something house to purchase plants. Garden? No, I don't know what that is. To purchase plants and bulbs. Came home, made some peach Monicia. Yeah, I'm not sure. Darn it. Sorry. At 3 p.m. went to Dina's and we read and analyzed the short story titled Matteo Falcon by Prosper Merrimel. Am I reading that right? I think I did Google this. What do I have over here? Did I put anything over here? Did I find something? A letter from D. Al G. Coy Kendall telling me her fall needs, which were a coat, dresses, slippers, stockings, latherette, underwear, and hat. Is that right? Latherette? Latherette? I am skipping some days. I read this ahead of time, as I said a long time ago. I just marked the ones I thought were worth reading. October 5th, went to the opening of the Ward Montgomery store. Ed arrived at noon this evening. Oh, Ed arrived at noon. Ha. This evening we played bridge with the old hands. October 7th, Ed and I went fishing, had a delightful outing, but no fish. Ed was elected president of the Board of Elders, and tonight was his induction into office. Mrs. Keith brought me some lovely flower slips. Congratulations, Ed. Tuesday, October 8th, such a happy afternoon. Mrs. Stone, Mrs. Keith, and I went to Elkton to the tea given at the community house by the Women's Club. I taught school there 25 years ago. Many old friends and pupils greeted me when I had not seen, whom I had not seen for a quarter of a century. Verily, variety is the spice of life. Now that my plants are all set out and growing, too windy for fishing, I spent the day sewing with my maid and enjoyed it. The first sewing I have done for 7 years. I remember the last time you sewed, I don't know. October 10th, 9 years ago, Sister Mary Snook died at the Riverside Hospital in Paducah. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Paducah. I was in Louisville when I got the telegram and I went to Paducah. She spelled it differently there. I forget which one's right. I was busy sewing today when Mrs. Baines called me up to come over and play bridge. I went by for Dina, but Byron was too ill for her to leave him. I took him a bottle of grape juice and some chicken. Mr. Northern notified us today that he was contemplating selling the house, and according to contract, we will have to vacate in 60 days. Yes, drama. Ed arrived at noon. He probably anticipated my distress over having to move. I still feel that Northern will not be able to sell the house. I have felt so established and happy here. This afternoon, Ed and I went fishing, and this evening we played bridge. Yeah. October 13th, got up early. We took our baths. Ed went over to see Byron. I studied my Sabbath school lesson, and we went to Sabbath school and church. At 1:30 p.m., we went to the funeral of Mr. Will Browning, Mrs. Browning being the president of the Women's Club. We club women attended in a body. At 7:30 p.m., we went to see Byron and Mrs. Woodward, who arrived there this afternoon. October 15th, feeling unusually well, went out to the Howards to take them some fish. Was preparing to have my party Friday and found Byron was too ill. The day was too warm and inviting to stay in the house, so I did not attend the History and Literature Club. Literature Club. And Mrs. Mackenzie and I went to the lake at 11 a.m. and I caught 25 fish. How long do they spend fishing? How many fish an hour are they catching? Is this like with a fishing rod, or they have nets? Like, why are there so many fish? I skipped some here. It's just fish. Fishing. Saturday, October 19th. I'm 62 years old today. I feel like I'm only 16. What a blessing to have good health and a pure heart and a consciousness that I have done my best to make the world better and happier. God has blessed me beyond measure. I had a letter from Bess Peace, and Adeline sent me a pair of garters for my birthday. Clyde, Kit, Clyde E., Ed, and I spent the day on Kenjiketi and fished. I have mentioned before how I enjoy how she writes. You know, it's not just, and the weather today was cool and cloudy, and I did such and such. So people are very brief in their entries, it seems. Like you're gonna wanna go back in your diary and find out if it rained on October 24th or something. I don't understand that. If anyone can tell me why people constantly just recorded the weather in their diaries, please let me know. Tuesday, October 24th. My maid moved into the servants' room upstairs. I sent Maud my spring coat, a bedspread, underwear, and quilt pieces, etc. Gathered a bouquet of snapdragons, asters, gaillardia, dahlias, calendulas, and marigolds, and took them to Byron. Mrs. D.D. Casey called and asked me to make a talk before the missionary meeting. Friday, October 25th. Went to Kenjiketi with servants. Had ashes dug into beds in sunken garden. Ed and Mrs. McSee came out at 1:30 and we fished. Water was cold and we only caught 3 fish. That's an off day. Sunday, October 27th. This beautiful, warm, sunshiny day has been filled with sadness and woe. Ed and I went to Sabbath school and church. Ed was called from church to accompany Byron to Nashville after the doctor had held a consultation and decided that an X-ray treatment was the only chance to save his life. Everybody seems to have despaired of his recovery, and we all felt that he was too weak to make the trip, even in the ambulance. But Dina hoped it might save his life, so they took him. At 7, as I sat in gloom, all alone, trying to get interested in what I was reading, my maid came in with murder in her heart, threatening to kill the woman who was moved into the house with her divorced husband. I spent 2 hours trying to pacify her by reading the scriptures and praying with her. I think I have succeeded and sent her to her room with the Bible and a promise from her that she would pray until peace came upon her. Now, I don't quite understand this. Did the woman move into the house with the woman's divorced husband? Like he had been divorced before? How did they know this? Or was this her maid's divorced husband and the woman moved in with him? Drama. Boy, I'd love to know. Monday, October 28th, rained all day. Went with my maid to see O.H. Anderson, her attorney. He is a ruffian, rude and dishonest. She got the $40 that the court allowed, came home and cut out some pajamas for Willie to make. Ed telephoned from Nashville that Byron had taken a blood transfusion and was resting very well. Resting, yes. Read until my eyes grew tired and then retired. Okay, so maybe that is the maid's ex-husband because she has an attorney and went to court. I was wondering what that was about. But maybe, I didn't put it together before. Maybe, ooh. So the maid's ex-husband lived in the house and a woman moved in with him. Tuesday, October 29th at 8:30 a.m. Mrs. Guy Morgan called to inquire about Byron. 9 a.m. Mrs. Will Hancock called. 9:10 Miss Matthew Baker telephoned. 9:30 Ed notified us that Byron could not live through the day. I immediately went to Dina's. She was dressing to go to Nashville. I insisted that she take Billy with her. She submitted it to Fran, Lizzie, and and they agreed with her to leave him here. Mrs. Mackenzie was with me when they called me and told me that Byron died at 4 p.m. So that's sad. October 30th. Last night I retired at 8 p.m., could not sleep, got a book and read until 1 a.m. At 1:30 a.m. Ed arrived with Byron's body. Went to Dina's at 9 a.m. this morning, came home for lunch and found Ed and Mr. Vivian Lyles had come to take lunch with me. After the sleepless night, I was still able to prepare a meatloaf, make a skillet cake, prepare lettuce, celery, and fruit for salad, a dish of cheese salsify, something I have not done for years. I don't know what that is. Left the baking of a nut bread loaf to my cook and went back to Dina's. And took a loaf of nut bread and assisted in receiving the many callers. Then came home, set the table in the big dining room, prepared the salad. Sorry, I hear the phone ringing. Okay, it's done. Where was I? Prepared the salad, whipped the cream. By the time my guests arrived, who were Uncle John Barnes, Anna Barnes, George Barnes, and Mr. Foster, who remained overnight with us. How's the time now? Oh dear. I have to stop because it's already been 20 minutes and my camera's going to die. Okay, back. Yes, I read that. Thursday, October 31st. Got up at 5 a.m. and helped to prepare breakfast. Then I went to Dina's. The body was taken to the Methodist church. A heavy rain was falling. The floral decoration was the most beautiful I had ever seen. Notwithstanding, I had seen Gable's funeral and several other state affairs. Oh, Goebel's funeral, sorry. Uncle John, Anna, George, and Min came home with us for lunch. Oh dear, it is windy outside. Can you hear that? It's been so windy. I keep losing my place. At 3 p.m. I went with Dina, Mrs. Gaines, Geneva, John, Billy, Edward, Martha, something, and Lizzie out to the cemetery to see the arrangement of the flowers. Then returned to Dina's to read the is that one word? Multitudinous what? Cards, letters, and telegrams of sympathy, and cards from the floral designs. November 1st, Ed and Dina spent the morning probating Byron's will and straightening up the estate. I brought Dina home with me to lunch. I'm skipping a couple days. Don't remember why. They're just not as interesting. November 6th, spent the morning packing a sack of old clothes to send to Maud and Bessie. Dina called me over and wanted me to take one of Byron's suits, a hat, and pair of shoes for Ed. Mrs. Rhodes came by and we went to prayer meeting. November 7th, went to the garden club at 10 a.m., reset several pot plants, went to the Hotel Latham to look at the rooms, also to the Forbes apartment. They are both lovely places to live, but oh, it would break my heart to leave my flower garden. Yes, who wants to move from a house to an apartment? That's a paper one. Friday, November 8th. Had a letter from Bess Peace, delighted with the cloak. The cloak? Bess is so appreciative. Is it a cloak? I think. Sometimes people's handwriting. At 2 p.m., I went to Mrs. Sam Small's to a bridge party. Now I'm just bothered. What is that? Is that cloak? I don't know. Did we say we were sending Bess a cloak? Somebody? Don't recall a cloak. 12 years ago today, I had my bunions taken off. Dr. Gather performed the operation. It was rather severe, but I am glad that I had it done. My feet have been a pleasure to me ever since. I have not had bunions. November 12th, rainy and warm. Did not feel like going to the H&L Club. The suspense and uncertainty of having to move worries me. November 15th, here I sit reading a book entitled A Novelist's Tour of the World by Vincent Blasco Hannes. A man I know personally and who was a passenger on the Franconia, that can't be right. Oh, did I look this up too? It's been months since I read this last. Well, when I made my trip around the world. She keeps mentioning her trip around the world. It must have been fun. Strange to say that just 6 years ago today, I left New York with 500 others to make the world tour. Okay, 6 years ago, so 6 years. It was 1923. Okay, we can find this. 500 others to make the world tour. And about this time, we were well upon the rough Atlantic, and I was suffering from seasickness. I'd like to go on another cruise. I did one cruise from Panama to Portugal. It was interesting, good and bad. I would like to do another cruise, but maybe a better cruise ship. And I don't know where I'd want to go. But now I also am aware of the environmental impact of cruise ships, so that's a tough one. Yeah, it's a shame. Also, you can't take your pets on board. There's one cruise ship that you can bring an animal, but it's like locked up somewhere else. You can't keep it in your room with you. And honestly, I mean, I would love to use that as a form of travel to get to from one place to another and bring. I have no pets right now. I'm working on getting 2 cats. But being able to bring them with me would be really great. Yeah. If I ruled the world, so many things I would change. November 17th, went to Sabbath school and church, and then from there to the Mackenzies to his birthday luncheon. Long dresses are becoming the rage, and shall have to have all of mine let down or buy new ones. Corsets are being worn again. However, I shall not torture myself by wearing one. Oh, I like that. So in 1929, corsets were coming back in style. It's funny. No, it's funny. I just never heard that mentioned or seen clues. Have you? Oh dear, there's like a thumbprint. No. I wonder what that was. Yes, I thought that was pretty funny. I love learning little things like that about the fashions. November 18th, I am not feeling well, so I spent the day reading Ibanez's book. This evening, Ed and I played cards with the old hams. That was a short and boring one. Oh, well, I didn't even mark that one either. You know. November 21st, I have believed all the time that Mr. Northern was only trying to get us to buy the house by claiming that he was going to turn it into an apartment. And today, Sarah called me and said that her father wanted us to remain in the house. I was relieved from the 2 months suspense of not exactly knowing what we were going to do. You know, I had a landlord like that. It was in the mobile home park I was living in, and I don't really know what he wanted, but he kept threatening to sell the whole park to Korean investors and kept trying to raise the space rents on us. And it's still a mobile home park, and that was I don't know, 10 years ago. Yeah. No, actually, I gave that up in 2015. Too much drama. Willie, my maid, is my next concern. Her mother wants her to come to her. That will be a great sorrow to me to give her up. While she is as honest as a servant can be, she is slow in her work and stupid to a fault. Who is Willie? I'd really like to know. Poor Willie. Clyde and family have moved to Owensboro. Poor Willie. November 23rd. Today I went shopping, helped Willie by way of suggestion and argument to get ready for her departure. Then Ed and I played bridge till 10 p.m. Letter from Maud, speaking of moving. Poor thing has moved every year for the last 5 or 6 years. Yep, I've been through that too. Oh no, oh dear, camera's running low. Oh, one moment. Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I need to get larger SD cards. This time it wasn't the 20-minute limit. It was a card running out of space, so I have to go delete things. I mean, I could stop storing so much on the card, but there's really not much there, just videos I took the other day, but I decided I'm not going to use them anyway. I'm going to redo that video. Yeah, I could be better about what's on the card, but I think I might need a bigger card. Because sometimes these videos take some time. So, okay. Yes, I read that. And I read that. Okay. Sunday, November 24th. This is the greatest day in the history of the Ninth Saint Christian Church, 9th Street? I don't know. The dedication of its educational building. I arrived early, got Willie off. Wait, I arrived? Yeah, I don't know. Took my cakes to the church, made a talk before the women's Bible class, contributed $250 to the building, and spent the day at the church. On my return, I found Mr. and Mrs. Leach calling. Ed and I went back this evening, and Ed gave $10. November 26th. Reread and analyzed the stories for the club went by for dinner and spent a very pleasant afternoon at the club. Tonight I am here absolutely alone. Ed left today, and there is not a servant in the place. Thinking over the situation as I ate my supper alone, and knowing that both my janitor and houseboy have keys to the house with which they could let themselves in at any time, I became a little nervous and have placed my gun handy. Like, do you not trust your janitor and houseboy? Why would you give people you don't trust, well, a job and then keys to your house? I don't know, but Adeline's got a gun. November 27th. Spent a quiet day reading. Johnny did all the necessary housework. I took dinner with the Oldhams and played bridge until 10 p.m. 6 years ago, I was coasting along the shore of Mexico, watching cloud-capped and snow-capped mountains in the distance, while the scene changed every minute. In the afternoon, I took my first swim in the large Pompeian swimming pool of the ship. At a reception in the evening, I met Don Vicente Blasco Ibanez. Don Vicente Blasco Ibanez. Sorry about my pronunciation. Don't even know if I'm reading it right. The Spanish author of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. He does not speak English, neither does he look like an author. I don't know what an author looks like, but okay. Thursday, November 28th. Thanksgiving. What is that word? Sewing? Don't know. Ed away. Johnny has the day off. I'm here all alone. Does she have her gun nearby? Be safe, Adeline. I thought of the sparrows would only come and feed one. What a quiet, grand time I would have reading and writing. I thought if the sparrows would only come and feed, well, I don't know. Oh my goodness. My telephone rang. Dr. and Mrs. Stone wanting me to eat Thanksgiving dinner with them. I accepted and had a most beautiful day. 6 years ago, I attended a formal ball given aboard ship. See, that's what I was expecting when I went on my cruise, and I was dressed pretty nicely. Okay, like casual for me. I wasn't like in the vintage mood yet and traveling and everything, but I dressed well. I brought my formal gown. We did have like one formal night, but you know, most people were just in flip-flops, children screaming everywhere. It was not the cruise that I had expected. Are there any vintage-inspired cruises going on? Or, I don't know, something where we all dress up? Or maybe there aren't children. I don't know. Because you're not going to get children to dress up, really. I would just like one of those elegant old cruises, like in a Cary Grant movie, you know? I wonder what they really were like back then. What was this cruise really like? They had dancers every night, but they had dances every night. We just had like an onboard club or something. That doesn't even count. But the officers of the ship were only allowed to attend the formal dances. They were dressed in their beautiful white uniforms, adorned with their insignia. It rained, and the night was black and stormy. The ship rolled, and I remember my feelings as I sat there watching the gay dancers on one hand and looking out upon the stormy ocean and silently praying. November 29th, had a letter from Willie Cherry stating that her mother was sick and that she would not return. So Willie Cherry, look her up. I do think I looked her up, but didn't find anything. I feel that she will come back someday soon. Louisville says this is the coldest day in November that we have had for 59 years. All that global warming, man. Okay, 13 minutes. Can we do it? Maybe. December 1st. My car is out of commission and I can't go to church, but Ed walked to his. Mr. and Mrs. B.G. Rhodes called this afternoon. 6 years ago, I was aboard ship nearing San Francisco and a terrible storm was raging. When I went to the swimming pool, I found it empty on account of the rough sea. Excuse me, had to sneeze. Yes, they emptied our pool too at one point because of the rough sea. It was sloshing all over the place. So, okay, that is in the way. I'm not going to be able to read that. Oh dear. Oh no, no. I can't. You know the trouble I have with these bookmarks. A 6-inch snow fell last night. Mrs. Alman Browning called. I refrained from eating lunch and drank buttermilk at intervals during the afternoon. This is partly for the benefit of a bad stomach and partly because I did not want to prepare a lunch and sit down and eat it alone. Not the only one. December 3rd, Dina and I went to the H&L Club and I gave a review of Charles, I believe, Reed's. You know, I didn't realize until very recently that Chas is short for Charles. Chas Reed's The Kingsbridge Mystery had a most interesting program. Heard that Mrs. Howard had cancer and could not recover. 6 years ago, we landed at San Francisco. I was on deck at 6 a.m. to see our ship glide through the Golden Gate into the harbor. Hog Island and the Prison Island were in front of us. Berkeley? No, it's Berkeley. I was thinking Berkeley Square, you know. On the right and Frisco on the left. As the sun came up, everything was beautiful and bewitching. I spent the morning reading letters from home. How do you get letters on a ship? How do you get letters on a ship? May Murray and the movie stars came aboard in the afternoon. May? Is it May? I'll have to look that up. Who are these movie stars? Oh. Sorry. I keep cutting because my nose is sniffly. December 8th. Had a happy morning at Sabbath school and at church. This afternoon, Ed, Dina, and the children and I went to the cemetery, came by the florist and purchased a pot of flowers and took them to Mrs. Howard. I feel like I shall never see her alive again. Well, wrapped Christmas boxes and read and cooked Ed a nice fat rabbit for dinner. Then we went over to the Oldhams and played bridge. Wrote letters to Maud, Gladys, and Willie Cherry. December 10th. Studied my short stories and went to the History and Literary Club, H&L Club, at 3 p.m. I feel that I can compete with any of these women in deduction and reason. Once more, my hopes are raised to the nth degree by Ed's hint that he is thinking of building a home soon. Instantly, I began to dream plans and sketches for same. Will they build a house? December 11th, went to town, got $25 crisp new bills to send to the children for Christmas, and spent the rest of the morning wrapping up Christmas boxes. Dina called me to come over. On my way, I met Mrs. Burton and Lucille and stopped in at Lucille's for a little visit. What a nice place. Like, you know your neighbors and you just stop by and, oh, can I have that life? December 12th. Sick with indigestion. Addressed from some Christmas packages. Was glad to see Ed come in a day come in a day ahead of time. Mrs. Burton called. December 13th, still have indigestion and backache. Spent the day looking through magazines for plans and suggestions for building our house. But again, I am disheartened by Ed's indifference in the prospect. Now, Ed, why would you suggest this and then just... skipped a couple days here. Why? Wrapping Christmas presents. It's cold. Didn't go to church. Mailed my packages and cards on December 17th. Why are these not marked? That's a lot of them. Went to Dr. Easel and had my ears examined. Dina and I went to the H&L Club. I enjoy these meetings very much. I received 3 beautiful handmade linen handkerchiefs from Al and somebody. I am as eager as a child to open a Christmas package. I'm just afraid of why I didn't mark things, but I'm not seeing anything crazy. December 18th. This has been a torturous day to me. I have received some Christmas cards and sent out some. Installed my gas stove and sent Sarah the one I found here. Tried to read, tried to eat. Indigestion resulted from my lunch and nervousness from my reading. Ordered castor oil, took a doze at 3:30, blah, blah, ate a chicken. Spent the day looking over the back numbers of Better Homes and Gardens. The Oldhams came over and played bridge with us this evening. December 21st, finished my Christmas shopping, and Ed and I spent the evening alone. These are happy evenings, for we are seldom alone. Had a nice fruit cake from the Dunman Peace. It was quite a surprise to be remembered by him, and I appreciate it more than I can express. I think I skipped some just because names are hard to read. Oh, it snowed, didn't go to church. Oh, Christmas. We had an old-fashioned eggnog, and the Mackenzies came over and took breakfast with us and spent the day. We played bridge and had a chilly dinner. This evening we played bridge with the Oldhams. That's your Christmas? Okay. More bridge the next day. December 27th, spent the day preparing and cooking a 6 o'clock dinner for Dina and her children. Billy had other engagements, so I asked Mrs. Maddie Gaines. I really got through nicely, and after dinner we played bridge. Sunday, December 29th, went to church and Sabbath school and took turkey luncheon with the Mackenzies. We're getting to the end of the year now. December 30th, this afternoon, Dina and I went to the Alhambra to see the showboat. It was too gripping, very artistic, but comedy suits my constitution better. Okay. There's a little article, well, it's like a thing stuck here. It's just a little poem she liked, I guess. The night has 1,000 eyes. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. Yet the light of the bright world dies with the dying sun. The mind has 1,000 eyes, and the heart but one. Ye, the light of a whole life dies when love is done. Francis W. Bourdillon. Okay, so December 31st. Actually did washing this morning. Stockings, handkerchiefs, a few napkins and towels. I am getting stronger every day. Okay, so she wasn't feeling well. Indigestion? Oh no, it's breaking. Okay, we'll close that. Beep. That is the end. Hold on. Apologies again. This time it was someone tapping on my door to let me know that I am now all alone. They've left me all alone. But I am not afraid because I have a gun. I really want to squirt this, but it'll end up on things I don't want to get wet. So we'll just, you know, it's like, anyway, we've reached the end of 1929, on to 1930. However, I have a proposal for you. I am very anxious to read this little haunted diary, but I want to read it the first time on camera, you know, without having read it before. Like the others I'm reading before, but make sure they're interesting. But this one's haunted. And I want to see if creepy things happen and share them with you. And, I mean, because sometimes you catch things on camera that you don't see, like, I don't know, orbs or weird things happen. I've heard some weird stories. But I want to see if Evelyn shows up. So I am proposing that we take a brief break from Adeline's diary between, you know, at the new year here, and take one episode to read this. It's only like a third of the way full. It's not totally full. So I think we can read this in one sitting, if I can read the handwriting. That is the, yeah. So what do you think about that? Can I do that? Can I please? Can I please? We want to do that, right? Yeah, read the haunted diary. Yeah. I'm just gonna assume that you're okay with this, and I'm gonna do it. I mean, you can write in the comments too what you think, but I really wanna do this. So please let me. Anyway, that's it for today. This is a long video, as usual with Adeline. She, you know, talks a lot. So we're gonna say goodbye. I'll see you next week. I'm not sure what video I'm gonna post. I have a little backlog, so getting through them. And yes, more content on the way. Never fear. So I'll see you later. Ciao.